The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the official dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We're here live at the Star. Our girl Haley Sutton is out in Oxnard, California, where the Dallas Cowboys are starting week 2 of training camp. I'm Jess Navarro's Iisha Morrison here live at the Star. Haley, good morning. It has been quite a morning. You look ready to go, and it is the Cowboys' first day of padded practice, so let's get right to it. What are you most excited to see? What competition battles are you excited to see in full force today?
Yeah, I definitely think the defensive line, they get the short end of the stick in situations like this because they don't really get to show what they can do until these padded practices. And then even when they get the padded practices, they're limited with the new rules for the NFL. So I'm definitely excited to see Mazi's potential and what he can do. You've seen glimpses of it a little bit here at camp, but really this whole defensive line, we've talked about it out here, the versatility that these guys have and the weapons that Dan Quinn has to insert someone here and move them somewhere there. So this is really a good opportunity for them to really show their stuff and show what this Dallas defense really looks like.
Absolutely. Iisha, Haley just mentioned Mazi Smith, which, as we know, is a big guy. So at full force, he's been saying, I'm ready to hit somebody. What do you think it's going to be like at the nose with him and Jonathan Hankins right next to each other, really stuffing those trenches now that we get to see them in pads?
Oh yeah, I believe that with what's happening at the offensive line, you have the guard position and the center position that obviously Tyler Biadasz had a good year, but the guard position is what people are really looking at right now due to the absence of Zach Martin, and some of those rotational guys are going to really get tested during this time when you talk about the defensive side of the ball. And to trickle down to what Haley said, I'm looking forward to seeing how the offensive line responds to that defensive line, and also how the running backs look behind that as well, because they get the short end of the stick, to your point, Haley, as well, when it's not pads.
Absolutely. And, we wrapped up week 1 of practice. Again, this is the first day we're really going to see the team with pads. But, Haley, I want to go to you for this, and then, Iisha, I'll defer back to you. What are some of the things you noticed initially, first 4 days of practice, even no pads? What are some of the things that really stuck out to you right away from the guys? You've had some conversations with them over there. Just some key points to really get in the swing of training camp. What are the first initial things you saw?
Yeah, I think this is a team that's motivated. I think every position group knows the battles that are in front of them, whether it's the wide receivers or the running back or even the offensive line at this point until Zach Martin shows up. So this is a team that's incredibly motivated. They know that they've lost 2 years in a row to the 49ers, and we're the last people that need to remind them of that, right? But I think they look sharp. And again, you have to take everything with a grain of salt because there's not been any pads, so you really don't have any baseline, I guess, to see what they're capable of doing. But Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb look locked in. Dak Prescott, I think, has really, really worked with Mike McCarthy this summer. And Mike McCarthy, as well, has really simplified this offense for them, that West Coast style that keeps getting thrown around. Isaiah Stanback actually showed up late last night for Talking Cowboys earlier today, so I had a really long conversation with Isaiah, just trying to understand what the difference is going to be with this offense and how it's going to help. And basically the way he explained it to me was they've taken all of the concepts, all of the things that they've learned, and they've kind of shrunk it a little bit. They've simplified it so that the routes are very simple for the receivers and the tight ends to run. The reads are very simple for Dak Prescott to get to. So you should start to see this stuff move really quickly, and that's kind of what I'm looking forward to with this first padded practice, is seeing how that can now apply when the guys are really coming at them hard.
Iisha, we hear a lot about this West Coast, now Cowboys version, Texas Coast offense. So can you talk about when we see these guys in pads, really what the difference is is going to be compared to maybe a little bit of the schematics that we saw last season under Kellen Moore, and then now switching to this now Texas Coast Cowboys offense?
Well, Mike McCarthy talked about yesterday with his interview with NFL Network that he really, this offseason, most of the changes that have been made about pass protection and then also too in the run game. So for me, what I'm looking for is looking at how they run the ball, because with a West Coast offense, you do see a lot of motion, quick game, quick screens, getting the ball out fast, your quarterback always having to check down. And to your point, Haley, such a good point you made about the wide receivers looking ready. In this offense, the wide receivers are going to be very involved, as you can see, and I think that's the most exciting thing that we can take from what the West Coast looks like. Your running backs are going to be passing options, and your wide receivers are going to have opportunities to make big plays as well.
Absolutely, and you know, being in Oxnard, I just got back, and yes, I am very sunburnt. Haley, I'm still sunburnt. I don't know if you can see me. It is not turning into a tan. But, you know, what I did see is, you know, to your point earlier, Haley, we talked about, you know, this team seems motivated and they seem hungry. So really the underlying factor that I saw from talking to the guys, even just seeing them at practice, is they're taking initiative and they know the why. And that's come up since even before we restarted the podcast this season, is knowing the why. And you can tell that they know the why. They're taking the initiative to study the playbook even when they're not on the field. They're in their room studying the playbook. A lot of the players will tell you that that's key and that's important right now. So they're taking the initiative to be better. Somebody that their press conference really stood out to me was Micah Parsons, and all of the great little nuggets that he threw in there for us, saying, you know, I hope you're ready to swim in deep water. And for me, you know, talking to Micah, we get to know him as a person in the locker room, and I thought that was the perfect analogy for him because he likes to travel. So he uses this beachy kind of analogy to set up his, you know, his mindset for the season, and saying, you know, I'm already 10 steps ahead, so that way nobody's going to catch up to me. And so I think when you have a tone setter on the offense in Dak Prescott, you have a tone setter on the defense in Micah Parsons, you really are not going to go wrong. And then, of course, on special teams, we can't forget special teams. You have the tone setter with Kavonte Turpin, who's now back and welcoming his little baby there. So very excited to see what Kavonte can do in camp as well. But we're going to go ahead and take our first break. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about some O-line, and are we concerned? How are they looking without Zach Martin? What are we looking for today? We're also going to talk some tight end action. So we will be back here in just a bit.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
If you have been thinking about weight loss surgery, My Bariatric Solutions has made it easier for you to schedule your initial consultation from the safety, comfort, and convenience of your own home. You'll meet one-on-one with the bariatric surgeon over a private and secure video call. You'll learn everything you need to know about the options available and which procedure is best for you. If you've been considering weight loss surgery and are ready to take the first step, call My Bariatric Solutions today at 844-326-6266. That's 844-326-6266, or go to mybariatricsolutions.com.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. Like, maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans, because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
Hi, I'm Danny McCray, Dallas Cowboys alumni player here with Smoothie King. And Smoothie King wants to ask you, what's that sound? That's the sound of you and everyone else absolutely loving new smoothie bowls from Smoothie King. And woo, me too. These smoothie bowls start with acai and pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. New smoothie bowls, only at Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
to Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We are back with even more Dallas Cowboys training camp talk. But first, let's talk about Fan of the Year. Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Dallas Cowboys football? Tell us how you can spice up the game for a chance to be named the 2023 Cowboys Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan, and win exclusive prizes plus a trip to Super Bowl 58. Nominate yourself or another fan today at DallasCowboys.com/fan of the year. And you know what? Based on what Micah Parsons said, guys, you might want to try to win that sooner rather than later, because Mike is pretty hungry for that Super Bowl win. But let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Let's start there, because as we know, Zach Martin watch still officially in play, as he is not reported to camp yet. Jerry Jones did speak on the matter, and it didn't seem like there was really any movement with that. So let's talk about what we've seen from the O-line so far at camp, maybe some of the rotations we'll get to continue to see, and then where the tight ends can fit into that pass pro aspect as well. So Haley, I'm going to defer to you first. Where have you seen the most improvement with this O-line in terms of, guys have to take advantage of their opportunities right now. So if you had to pick a guy that's taking advantage of his opportunity in the rotation of the O-line, who would you say that is?
Terrence Steele, and it's not even close. When you talk about improving the offensive line, you saw the immediate impact. And what was interesting about his ACL injury in that Texans game is that you didn't realize how valuable Terrence Steele was until you didn't have him. And then all of a sudden on that drive, you had Matt Ball in there. Matt Ball wasn't ready necessarily. So then you put in Jason Peters last season and we obviously know how that game ended and how that drive ended with Dak to Zeke. So I think for me, Terrence Steele, especially having sat down and talked to him last week, just about his mentality and how quickly he got back. And this was a nugget that I actually threw on Inside Cowboys training camp a couple of days ago. The average recovery time for an offensive lineman with an ACL injury is 11 months. And Terrence Steele is back on the field practicing, ready to go at just over 8 months.
Wow.
So when you think about the improvement that he did, the work that he put in, we saw him several times out on that practice field at the Star getting ready. Those are the reps that are going to matter here. And I think you've already seen the improvement with him back at that right tackle spot. Now on the other side, I'm still a little nervous. Tyron Smith and Tyler Smith still trying to work it out, but it's definitely going to be interesting just to see how they continue to stretch and work different people in as we wait for Zach to either show up or not show up. It's definitely interesting, though.
That's a great nugget and great work there with your interview with Terrence Steele. If you guys haven't seen it, please go check it out. It was really good stuff by Haley there. Iisha, I'm going to go to you now. We were talking about Josh Ball getting some rotation at right guard. Who else are some maybe other guys you could see in that rotation, and what are their strengths and maybe some things that they need to work on to really firm up and shore up that right side of the line?
Oh, absolutely. So Matt Barniak is a guy that has got an opportunity there, and for the most part, he's been consistent there. I know he's a gentleman that the team has a lot of faith in because of his versatility and what he's able to do, even having flex from center to guard. And also, too, TJ Bass is a gentleman that I'm looking to possibly get some opportunities there in Zach Martin's absence as well. But Josh Ball has been manning that spot. He's been taking over there, and he's been consistent there, too, from what I know. So I'm really just looking to see who's going to take the reins at that position, and hopefully we can see that this week.
Absolutely, and we always talk about the term year two jump, right? And we know how important it is for these guys to come in from their rookie season to take that jump into now being a veteran. And so I'm really interested to see more of Tyler Smith. And something I did notice off the field was, we talk to these guys in the locker room, and we get to talk to them throughout the year. And last year, he was a little bit more, I don't want to say meek, but a little bit more quiet, a little more to himself. This year, when he was talking to media at training camp, he had a little bit more like perk in his shoulders. He was very confident in what he was saying, and you can just see a newly found confidence within him. So I'm excited to see that there. Let's talk about how the tight ends can tie into all of this, because it's a very exciting room, guys, and we've been very high on this tight end room on this podcast, and we continue to be. Haley, what have you got from some of the guys out there in Oxnard? What have you seen? We know Luke Schoonmaker is not participating in practice right now because of that foot injury, but what are you seeing from some of the guys? What are you hearing out there as well?
Yeah, we had a chance to talk to Jake Ferguson after practice. I believe it was on Thursday. At this point, all of the days are blending together. But
Right.
We did have a chance to talk to him at some point last week. And one of the first questions I asked him was, do you see yourself as the leader in that room? And he, without batting an eye, said, I think we're all leaders in our own different way. I think I'm a leader at some things, and I think Peyton's a leader at some things. And then I also think that Seth can be a leader, and I also think that Luke Schoonmaker, as a rookie, has potential to be leader at some stuff. And what's so interesting about this tight end group is that if you smashed the three of them together, in Jake Ferguson, Peyton Hendershot, and Luke Schoonmaker, you have a Travis Kelce-esque tight end right there. And so it's a little bit fun because each one of them has different strengths. Jake Ferguson, he's your playmaker. He's got the size, he's got the swag. We've seen him Texas two-step around the Eagles. So he's your playmaker, right? You've got Peyton Hendershot, who in my opinion is much more like a wide receiver as opposed to a tight end, but he's got the build. I think if he can continue to work on his blocking and shore up on those penalties, Peyton might be the dark horse in all of that. And then, of course, you have Luke Schoonmaker, which to me, it's still a question mark because we haven't really seen him line up. Plantar fasciitis is nothing to play with, so I'm interested to see how they kind of monitor that as we go through camp as well. But then you have guys like Seth Green, who have also had some really great catches out here, who've also been really involved in the pass protection, which helps with that offensive line that we just talked about. And then you also got some rookies. John Stevens is a guy who... a lot of people are very quietly high on, and he's had some really great play as well. He's broken through at the line of scrimmage and created some separation. So it's an interesting position, and it only got better with Dalton Schultz leaving because it left that tight end one spot kind of available for them to play with.
Oh, yeah, and then to add to that, Sean McCune is a guy that's important to what they do. And when you talk about how they're obsessing over pass pro and really focusing on that, I think whatever tight end to set yourself apart as a tight end in this game and for this team, you're going to have to be able to block and to be active in the run game, active in the passing game. And also, too, Haley, to your point, bringing up the multiple tight ends and how that works, this is something that Mike McCarthy does. This is something that he emphasizes in every offense he has had, is that he has multiple tight ends and they do different things. So this fits the bill for what he likes to do in his system. So absolutely, I'm looking forward to seeing those guys thrive this year.
I'm so glad you mentioned Sean McCune because that guy is so underrated, and I was so glad to hear Brian Schottenheimer give him all the kudos in that press conference earlier this week. Like you said, Haley, all the days are starting to blend together, so I can't tell you an exact day. But
I don't know what day it is, man. I just know we got padded practice
only know it's
today.
Monday.
There you go.
Only know it's Monday because it's Monday. That's it.
There you go. That's all you need to know. But what I will say is that Sean is such a quarterback-friendly tight end because I saw him getting reps with Dak. I saw him getting reps with Cooper Rush and Will Grier. And so anytime you can be a clutch guy for three different kinds of quarterbacks, I mean, that tells you something about his persistence and his ability to be flexible with different kind of play styles there as well. But I talked to Luke Schoonmaker before I left Oxnard. He was one of the last interviews that I had. And you guys just know how high I was on him talking about wanting to get mentorship from Jason Witten. So I finally got to ask him, what was the advice that Jason gave you? And he said that basically when it comes to football, he wants to be like Jason Witten, not just on the field, but also off the field. He said that Jason was a guy that prioritized family outside of the field. So he asked him about that. He also said that Jason told him to lean on the leaders in the room, specifically mentioning Dak Prescott and Zach Martin, saying that those guys can just give you so much because they've been where you've been before and they've made names for themselves. And Jason's biggest advice, exhaust every single opportunity and chance that you can from the guys around you. So I thought that was some pretty cool stuff there. As for his recovery, well, he said that he likes the speed that the trainers are going at him with, so not too slow, not too fast. So he's very hopeful to get back on the field very soon. But we're going to go ahead and take our last break. This is a little bit of a condensed version of Girls Talk, Boys Talk today, but we have plenty more to talk about, so make sure to stay tuned. We'll be right back.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. Like, maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
If you have been thinking about weight loss surgery, My Bariatric Solutions has made it easier for you to schedule your initial consultation from the safety, comfort, and convenience of your own home. You'll meet one-on-one with the bariatric surgeon over a private and secure video call. You'll learn everything you need to know about the options available and which procedure is best for you. If you've been considering weight loss surgery and are ready to take the first step, call My Bariatric Solutions today at 844-326-6266. That's 844-326-6266, or go to mybariatricsolutions.com.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to talk all about QB1, but first, let's talk about training camp, because the Dallas Cowboys Training Camp 2023 is here, brought to you by American Airlines. Watch the team practice on select dates through August 15th in sunny Oxnard, California. Admission is free. For more information, you can visit dallascowboys.com/training camp. Haley, it doesn't look a little sunny right now. It doesn't look too sunny, but that sun will come out, because the thing about the beautiful California weather is that it's a little bit overcast in the morning, and then by the afternoon you're like, wow, am I in Texas or am I in California? It's a little warm, but you know what's going to be real warm, real hot this upcoming season? Dak Prescott, how he's going to play. Guys, I'm so excited to talk about Dak in this segment. I knew Haley was going to make that face. Because, look, guys, we could go on and on about Dak being the great leader that he is, because we've said that for the last 7 seasons. We know that. That's very visible. It's very apparent. But, Haley, I'm going to go back to you for this, and then we'll go back to Iisha, because we've been talking about this too. Do you feel like there's kind of a new page for Dak Prescott now? Do you feel like he has kind of a new sense of urgency? He just turned 30, so happy belated birthday to QB1. But do you feel like there's a new sense of urgency because of that? And what is the kind of vibe, if you will, you're getting from Dak out in Oxnard?
I don't think there's a new sense of urgency with Dak Prescott, and I think that that's a good thing. I don't think Dak has ever not felt urgent about wanting to win championships, and I don't think there's anyone else on this team that gets as much flack as Dak does. And really, he's the one who, besides Micah talking about going into deep water, Dak is really right there on that level, maybe not as much with the cutesy little idioms. But listen, I think that Dak is ready to go. And you've seen, like I mentioned in that first block, you've seen just how he's worked one-on-one with Mike McCarthy. You even see it after he throws a play. He's immediately going back to check in with his offensive coordinator, to check in with Mike, to make sure that everyone's down. You have conversations where, even the defense is talking to him sometimes and saying, like, hey, man, like, trying to help him out that way too. So I don't think that this is an urgency issue just because he turned 30. And actually, I believe that our coworker Kyle posted a stat about how all of the Super Bowl winners in like 5 of the last 8 Super Bowls have been over 30. The quarterbacks have been. So I think that stat bodes well. I'd have to check on that, so don't go in the comments going crazy. I'll double check that and put it back on Twitter. But listen, I think that if anybody is ready to win, it's Dak. And you saw that, especially on Saturday. Again, no pads, so take it with a grain of salt. But the way he was cooking with Brandon Cooks, I was right there in the corner when CeeDee Lamb caught that little route in the corner. I was right there. You can see me in the background. This is an offense that is flying, and it all stems with Dak Prescott. And he talked about it in his press conference as well when he took the team to Atlanta. He said that's when it really started to hit him that this was a team that could do big things. So I'm excited for Dak. I'm excited to see what he looks like against a defense that is now padded, because it makes it more realistic and you can kind of gauge a little bit better. But I really think this new Texas Coast offense is going to bode well for him.
Oh, yeah. I also second the fact that I'm excited about seeing what they do with this new offense. But also with Mike McCarthy and a lot of the players, you've heard them talking, it sounds like there's been a real effort to make sure that everyone's on the same page. page, the purpose of the play. Why are we doing this? What is this set up for the next week, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's important for a team to feel included in the game plan. And from listening to the interviews from the quarterback down, it sounds like everyone has been included in kind of putting this game plan together. And I believe that's why you see some of that comfort you talked about, Haley, from the rest of the other players as well. And with Dak Prescott, I believe that this new offense is going to allow him to not have to think as much, to be free, to also have the opportunity to have different. He can change things within the game. Mike McCarthy gives his quarterbacks a lot of power to do what they want, and I think that all them being on the same page is going to allow this offense to thrive this year.
Oh, I third all of that. And 3, like, who else? Brandon Cooks. Because, oh my goodness, seeing this guy's speed in person is something different, guys. I mean, Brandon Cooks is such a special addition to this offense. And like you said, it bodes so well for what Dak Prescott needed to really take that jump and be better this year. And so I'm excited to see that. Michael Gallup looks great. He looks like a guy that is just confident in himself. And so he's playing well. He looks great. CeeDee, of course. I got to talk to one of the guys that works with CeeDee in the offseason, Craig, in an interview I did. And Craig had said, you're going to see the best version of CeeDee Lamb that you have ever seen. And he was not lying. I was like, Craig, kudos to you, my guy, because you were so spot on with what you were saying. CeeDee just looks so shored up and confident in himself. And I think, the underlying factor of all of this is the confidence that you're feeling within every single aspect of this team right now. And it's really special. I like that Dak Prescott gives kudos to the guys that maybe aren't his starting 3, right? That says, hey, I give attention to the receivers that might be called up from the practice squad at one point, that might be the third down guy. And so Dak is working with every cylinder of his offense, really, to shore up that when their time is called, he knows that connection's already there, that continuity's there, that chemistry is already built. He knows every single aspect of what these guys are bringing to the table. So I'm really excited to see that as well. But real quick, guys, we are almost out of time. So Haley, I'm going to go back to you one last time. What is a matchup you're looking forward to seeing in pads today, and what can we expect for Wednesday's episode of Girls Talk Boys Talk when we come back to talk all about it?
The matchup I'm looking most forward to is me and this coffee. And
Beautiful.
if I can fight the fact that we've been up since 8 a.m.
Tackle it, girl.
No, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, I'm super excited to see Sam Williams match up against anybody, because to me, he's my sleeper in all of this. He is one of the most versatile defensive linemen that we've had, and he has, to your point earlier, Jess, of taking that second-year jump, I am so excited for people to see his second-year jump, because he has been nasty all week. He's been at it. He's been working hard all summer, too. So I'm mostly just excited to see Sam Williams and that entire defensive line, and we can really start to gauge what both of those lines look like.
Iisha, what about you? What is your go-to matchup for first day of padded practice? It feels like the first day of school, really. What is your go-to matchup?
Oh, this Cowboys defense, the front 7 against the running backs. I'm really interested to see who really shows themselves as that 2 running back moving forward. Hunter Lipke is a gentleman I'm really excited to see get after it this week. So the running back position against the front 7 of this defense that we know flies around, if they can get anything going against that, then they're going to have some success this season.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I'm going kicker, guys. Y'all know how I feel about this kicking situation.
Special teams matter.
I'm going kicker, and only because this is really the first time during camp we get to see the competition between Vizcaino and Aubrey there. So we're going to keep an eye on things. Haley joining us from Oxnard. Please go put on some sunscreen if you haven't already, Haley. Take care of yourself. Drink water. I drink your coffee.
You're telling me to put sunscreen on. Meanwhile, all of y'all are sunburned. I am moisturized. I have got my sunscreen on. I got my little hat that I'm going to put over my head. You do not have to worry about me,
She's really
girl.
just rubbing in the sunburn
caffeinated,
right now.
and I'm ready to go.
Ooh, we love it. We love a non-sunburn caffeinated queen out in Oxnard. Haley, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We know you have a busy schedule, but we're excited to talk to you on Wednesday. Iisha, thank you for joining us in the studio. For Haley, Jess, and Iisha, we are out of here. We will see you back on Wednesday for more Girls Talk, Boys Talk. So we'll see you then.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!